of the RC or the heating element. Once I do that, I need to go to the EEC. What's the EEC? In the manual command, or what's it's the hot water solenoid valve. I need to activate it. When I activate it, so the boiler is under pressure, and then there is a way open for the water, which is the hot water solenoid valve. So the water will start to come from the hot water outlet, from the hot water nozzle, and in this way I will be able to empty 70% of the boiler. Okay. While I'm emptying the boiler, the pressure is going to zero. I will still have 30%. 30% I will do it in a mechanical way. Okay? Which is I need just to open in the boiler and a half in the boiler and just drain the rest of the boiler remaining inside the boiler. There is a remark here. With this option, switch off the boiler. If by mistake you switch off the boiler, you will not be able to switch it on. Okay? Do not struggle. The only way to switch it on is just to restart the machine. Okay, it's reported by security because some technicians, they are trying, then they switch it off, then they try to put it on, then they think they have a problem with the touch screen. It's not reacting in that area or not responding in that area, but this is we did it like this for safety. We want you to restart the machine. So for this option, automatically to go again to a normal position which is on. Next.
So the machine should be hot first.
To empty it? No, not to be hot to the new empty.
Should be.
It's a situation, I go to a machine, I need to work in it and it's hot, so this is the way how to empty the boiler. I go to a machine, as it's switch off, so I just open and then from the boiler directly. Mechanically directly.
Okay.
Don't switch it on to heat up,
And
to
then
empty
drain.
70%, to wait for it to cool down. So just open and empty. Here about the coffee circuit. Right?
Yeah.
No? Coffee circuit. So this is the logic, how it works in the coffee circuit. So from the line, cold water or water with the 20 degrees C home temperature, there is a quantity, and here is the boiler with the heat exchanger. And you know how it works, boiler with heat exchanger. We have a heating element here, which is heat up the water inside the service area, we call it. Once this water becomes hot, so we have an area for hot steam and hot water. This tube or this heat exchanger is merged inside steam and hot water. So the water goes inside here cold, it gets warm, it becomes hot because it's merged inside a boiler with a pressure of 1.6 or in a temperature more than 120 degrees C. So here the cold water enters to the boiler, okay? Then there is a small tube which is drive or take the water to the extreme end of the heat exchanger. Coming back, it takes the heat and it comes out with its temperature. Okay? If I increase the temperature outside of the heat exchanger, automatically I increase the temperature of the hot water coming out from the heat exchanger. Right? Out from the heat exchanger, hot water, there is a mix here between hot and cold because I need to drop down a little bit the temperature of the water because the water for or the hot water for tea is higher temperature compared to the water used to pour the coffee. Then the mixed hot water goes to the brewing unit and it enters from the bottom. Okay, and out I get coffee. For S20 it's the same. Water comes from the top or from the bottom of the brewing unit. S20 the water from up to down. Here is the opposite, the water from down to up, and up I get the coffee to the spot. Okay? Here I have another line. This line, as you can see here, is bypassing the brewing unit. This line is the added water, we call it. Is to add water after or can be before, it depends depends what you program, but this water added can be before, can be after, and used mainly for to prepare or to for the menu Americano. Easy? No? Here is the coffee or the coffee circuit or the coffee hydraulic circuit. As you can see from the line to the inlet valve, when this one is open, the water passes through pressure regulator. To drop the pressure to which pressure? Do you remember?
2.
To 1.6.
Two.
I received 2. This one is dropped to 1.6. Then to the flow meter, which is count for me the water dose, to the pump. Out of the pump, this bypass you cannot adjust, never try, it's fixed. Because this pump will always, if I have 2 bars, this pump will always receive 1.6. If it receives always in 1.6, we already, this one we choose a bypass, or we have quality bypass to give me out 8 to 9 bar. Okay? Then what is this? VR. VR is check valve. Check valve, which doesn't allow water to go back to the pump. It allows water to go only in one direction. Then after the check valve, there is the VE. What's the VE? It's the expansion valve. The expansion valve, also this one you cannot clean it, you cannot adjust it. Yeah? It takes, you have to lay, go back home. You can sit here.
Come sit here.
So, VE is expansion valve. It's also set, I think, at 12 bar. So if there is any high pressure, here it will relate out from the expansion valve. After the expansion valve, the water take direction to the boiler or to the heat exchanger. Okay? Always separate this area out of the heat exchanger and inside heat exchanger. Out of the heat exchanger, it can resist to a maximum 2 bar pressure. Inside the heat exchanger, or this coffee circuit can resist maximum to 12 bar pressure. Okay, do not mix. Always separate these 2 lines. Even the pipes here, the connections, the quality of the boiler, the quality of the heat exchanger, it's designed in a way that it resists to that pressure. Even the connectors here in the coffee circuits. 2 bars. Okay. Then into the boiler, you can see here there is a pipe. This pipe is to take the water, take the end or extreme end of the heat exchanger, because if there is no pipe here, the water, cold water will come from here and will exit and it will not take all the heat required. So the water comes here in the end, then coming back, it will catch the heat thanks to the convection or thanks to the hot water and steam around the heat exchanger. Out with X temperature, we have here a small injector. Okay, small nozzle with 1.75 mm to regulate the flow of the hot water. Then other side we have a regulator. This regulator is adjustable. It's the same one you have in the air circuit, for example, for the S20. It's a mechanical regulator.
So we can play with the water temperature.
Yes, in case I want a 1.6 bar as a steam pressure because it's more convenient for me for hot water and steam. Since this boiler is a single boiler, for sure the temperature coming out from the heat exchanger will get affected, will be very hot. We put a solution here because we cannot provide you in this machine with that budget, that price, 2 boilers. If we put 2 boilers, it will be more costly. So we have here something like a thermodrive, okay, which is I can adjust a certain flow of the water to mix with the hot water to come out with the temperature I'm looking for. Okay, so if your client see my the coffee is very hot, but I want still 1.6 bar, you have a solution here to do a mixed, and I will explain to you how to adjust, because one turn, it can give you plus, one turn open, it will give you plus 1 degree. If you close, it will give you minus 1 degree in the temperature here after the mix. Then hot water, take this direction. Here we have a T connector. We will follow this way. Here we have a 3-way solenoid valve, which is, we call it G or group valve. When this one is activated, it will open the way to 1. Hot water will go direction to the brewing unit. Will pass through the coffee cake or the coffee tablet. We get out coffee to the cup. Any question here? No questions? Nothing?
Just if you give me a quick answer.
Yes.
If we have calc in the heat exchanger, how we descale it?
You open it.
So we need to open. So there is no any other technique.
No, there is no other technique to descale the heat exchanger or to descale.
So we are doing it right, Andrew, to descaling. So there is no other option. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to descale the heat exchanger,
Remove
you need to remove it. Take it out, descale it, and put it back. Because also this pipe is exposed to get locked with scale or accumulation of scale. Because you know, see where it's placed down, then it depends on the quality of the water. You need at least once a year to open and descale. The only way to descale, there is no automatic descale in our machines, is to dismantle to measure inside, to soak it inside the descaler and mixed with water. Then you rinse it and you are samples back. No other question here? So this is what we were explaining on the circuit. So from the line to the electronic valve, pressure reducer coming out to the heat exchanger. We have here this expansion valve. This expansion valve is set at 12 plus or minus 1 bar. Okay. It's a fixed value, as I mentioned. You cannot adjust it. Do not try to adjust it or clean it. It's very difficult. If it's defect, just remove it and put another one. And it's connected to the discharge. Means if there is any high pressure in the line and this expansion valve open to release the extra pressure, it goes to the drainage. It goes here to the drainage. After the expansion valve, the water takes its way to the pump. Okay. Here to the flow means that from it to the pump, from the pump to the expansion valve. After the expansion valve, we go to the heat exchanger. Into the heat exchanger, the water comes out hot, and here there is a T connector and the mixing point. Before that, there is a flow restrictor for 1.575 mm nozzle. From the other side is the cold water, and this is the regulator. They can adjust the mixed. Okay? The mixed hot and cold comes here to here. We have a T connector. Okay? From the T connector, if we follow this way, we go to the group valve. The group valve has in and out and discharge. Here the discharge goes also to the drain, connected directly to the drain. Then when this one is activated and open, water goes directly to the brewing unit to extract the coffee. If I want to add water for Americano before and after we have this solenoid valve, when it's open, it adds water with the same temperature, as you can see, is the same line, to the cup for additional hot water before or after for Americano. Yeah?
Yeah.
Next. So this is already explained. This valve, we always call it EVR or EVA. It's a water added solenoid valve. It's 24 DC. It's an only two-way solenoid valve. It's only in and out. The group valve is 24 DC. It's three-way solenoid valve, and it's a ribbon steering. Here our regulator. which is, I said, allow me to adjust separately the temperature for the water to grow the coffee. Okay? Regulator, it's a mix of cold water for the coffee. A half turn of this regulator, it can give you an increase between 3 to 5 degrees. Okay. Water at the top of the coffee cake. What we suggest as a adjustment or as a setting point, you close it totally, but this kind of regulator never force too much. Just close it till you feel it's closed in a soft way, not very hard. Then you open 6 turns. You will be approximately in the standard adjustment we do generate our factory. Okay? Next, or something strange here? No?
6 to 10 degrees.
We go next. This is the heat exchanger. Okay. It's a cartridge. Material is made of copper. It's treated with a coating, we call it Radiopotec. This is very important coating, which is done only in local chimney. This coating, the water, when it gets in touch with a metal, it catches or it takes some heavy metals, which is not good to drink. With these coatings in the boiler or in all the components in contact with the water, so we protect or we give a better quality of water to protect the heat of the water from our machines. The problem with this Radiopotec treatment, if you descale the boiler and you use a different descaler, it will damage this coating, and that time it's you cannot benefit from this. That's why there is a special descaling product or descaling liquid. We call it Radiopotec descaler. This descaler, it acts in a way which is doesn't eat this coating or this protection, and also doesn't melt the scale inside the boiler, but it detaches the scale from the wall of the heat exchanger or the wall of the boiler without addition the Radiopotec treatment or the Radiopotec coating. The capacity, the volume of this heat exchanger, which is always 100% full with water, there is no steam. It's 0.23 liter, and the pressure can resist to maximum 12 bar. That's why we put this expansion valve as a safety mechanical device to protect the circuit from this pressure, which is the heat exchanger itself cannot resist to more than that. The pipe, as you can see here, we don't use copper. We are using this type of pipe, which is we call FPE. It's a material which is resistant to temperature and to pressure, which is also easy to connect disconnectors to this fast connectors. You can see here the lateral cut of the boiler or a cut of the boiler. Here you can see the heating element, the heat exchanger, the tube inside the heat exchanger, and what is this?
The probe.
For the resetable thermostat. Yeah, so for you, just check with that M39, maybe that probe is placed in a way which is it detects a very high temperature.
Maybe it's touching the heat. So
Then the program, here this we will do it in the machine directly, or we can still use also the simulator. The machine has an option since the S15 is a machine with a plastic brewing unit, so we don't have the possibility to have a preheated brewing unit. We cannot put a heating element like in the S20. So the only way to keep the brewing unit warm, that we can set a cycle of hot water passing through the brewing unit after a certain period of time that we are not using the machine to keep it warm. Because if you want to brew a coffee, after some time you didn't use it and the brewing unit is exposed to the EC or to the ambient, for sure the quality will not be good, especially for the first 2 or 3 espressos. So to avoid this situation, we have a function which is to preheating or preheat the brewing unit with the hot water coming from the boiler to keep it always hot. And irrespective how we can program it, it's very important, or we will have this quality issue because we lose temperature inside the brewing unit. The coffee group. This is a new coffee group. I don't know if you had any experience with the Q10 in the past.
Q10.
No? But can you
Q10?
call a Q10? Q10.
No, we don't have, but we have one in Joro.
Q10. Okay. Q10 is a machine also with a plastic brewing unit.
Yeah.
We did a good improvement because
Discontinued?
yes, it's replaced by S15. So صراحة أنا فرحان للS15 أكثر من لأنه it was a really good solution. You don't have the experience with the Q10, so you will not feel the difference, but here is a really very good solution for a plastic brewing unit, for an entry-level fully automatic machine or small capacity coffee machine. So the brewing unit, it's an assembly of 2 units. It has 2 motors. It's not like the S20. S20 has only 1 motor, which is managed the movement of the brewing unit. This one, the movement is managed with 2 motors. And those motors has encoders, 1 chamber rotation for the upper piston and the other one for the lower piston movement. The group hydraulic, the inlet water is from the lower piston. It's opposite to the other machines, and the outlet coffee is from the upper part. This one, pay attention, but I will always ask them to send it to Kuwait or to Morocco.
Standard?
I prefer this in my region. In GCC, I prefer that you go with the 46 because with the small one, I experience it's not good for this market. For other markets, it can be good. If you use the small diameter, the 38 in Italy, it will be fine. They use Italian coffee blends. They use Italian coffee blend. There is Arabica and Robusta in it. Then their coffee is very short, so the 38 will be fine. Here we need always to compensate to get correct value for the espresso or to reach a certain test. We need to increase the quantity. With this specialty coffee market, I don't know, the S20, I tried it with specialty coffee at S30, especially the 50 diameter, it gives a good result. With the S15, still, I didn't experience much. If this one also can give a good result.
What's the minimum amount we can put?
The minimum amount is always, in my opinion, 9.
Oh,
It's 9.
not 7.
No, it's not possible, I think.
7, we have an issue for the fully automatic like that because it cannot be pressed.
7 is applicable for a
Yeah.
traditional machine.
So we are
Use
always
7
setting
with,
9
with
grams.
23 up, use it with M100. But with fully automatic machines, I don't think 7
No.
can work. Minimum we talk about
8 to 9.
8.5. My experience, they always work with the 9 grams.
No.
Okay, and especially with this machine.
I think the minimum amount for Dunkin' Donuts 10 point something,
The Armor, yeah,
10 or 11.
for Dunkin' Donut.
Yes.
So
Tomato,
this is the brewing unit. I will explain to you how you can dismantle it.
So this is same Q10 and S15, the still same?
No, there is a big difference.
Oh.
There is almost no relations, or there is not much similarity between both of them, but Q10 It's already discontinued and replaced with the S15.
Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of capacity, they are almost in the same level of capacity. Q10 was designed for 100 reps a day. This one they had 150, but almost it's the same, destinated for the same daily output. Sorry?
No, I was asking the piston,
Okay.
the brewing assembly.
Hey, this is the part or the piston in the brewing unit. I'm not sure if we get the chance to dismantle it. I don't want to dismantle it because you have only one machine. So and sometimes
Broke.
no, not broke. I need really just to be comfortable to get the valve to dismantle and to try, but it's a little bit risk without having another spare unit. So here is the upper piston. Body is made of this material. This is just an abbreviation of it's a polymer or something. It's a plastic in the end which is resist to the heat and to the pressure, and it's a food material. Here we have silicone gasket, okay, which is similar one existing on the lower piston. It's a consumable part, need to be replaced after some time. And here we have an inox steel filter, upper one, with the big holes. Then we have the lower one. It's an inox steel shower with the smaller holes. If it is bigger here, what will happen?
All the coffee
The coffee will go down.
Yeah.
Then it will block the way for the hot water. Plastic diffuser disc to diffuse the water, to distribute the water to the coffee tablet. And we have a lower piston body made with the same material. As you can see here, we have this part, and this part can be dismantled, and both units can be taken out in easy way from the machine. How it works? The brewing unit. This is the cycle of the brewing unit. So the coffee comes from the grinder, goes to the brewing chamber, then we take a movement in to start the brewing. Then we have the upper and the lower piston to press and squeeze the coffee tablet.
Can you explain now when the infusion time?
In this one it goes a little bit fast, but in the next one I will explain to you about the infusion. It's going fast. Here the cycle is
Parehas lang may waste
a little bit fast, it doesn't show all the stages. Next slide I will explain all. So,
Iba lang yung
grinding.
assembly.
Coffee comes from the grinder, okay, to the brewing chamber. Then then it goes to this position to press from up and down. Once it's pressed, then after that there is something we call backing. After the backing, there is a pre-infusion.
Backing?
Backing is the same as, I don't know if for...
Backing means you...
Not baking, backing.
Backing.
Back.
Go back.
Yeah. It's almost the same thing happening in all the fully automatic machines. So I can explain to you for S20, then I will move to the S15 for you to understand how it works. So if this is the brewing chamber in the S20, okay, so coffee comes from the grinder when the chamber is in the middle position, or we call it position FC1. When the brewing unit it's in a position where the FC1 is activated, or the photo cell 1. Then next, the grinder starts to grind that programmed grinding time. The coffee goes inside the chamber. Okay. Once the chamber receives that programmed quantity of coffee, then the brewing unit goes up. Okay. Up we have a piston. Okay. Then it press maximum to press on the coffee, because you know the barista after he grind the coffee, he
Tamp.
tamp in it
Yeah.
or he press it. We do the same with the brewing unit. So we tamp in it with our force equivalent to 15 kg to press on the cake, so we create more resistance while we are brewing after that with the coffee. Once we press, then there is a parameter in the program, we call it the backing. Backing means we ask the brewing unit to go a little bit down and to leave a distance between the surface of the coffee pressed and the screen shower. Because if we leave it in a direct contact, I cannot do pre-infusion. There is a resistance, so the water will not come out. The same thing if I take you to a traditional machine. Traditional machine, after the barista press, what you do? You put the pot filter on the group. When you put pot filter in the group, there is always a distance between the screen shower and the surface of the pressed coffee, right? So in the fully automatic, we do the same. We need that space.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
If the barista put too much coffee and he tries to put the pot filter, he cannot put it because the coffee is touching the screen shower and it's not possible to do it. If he forces it, he will get a very, very slow extraction or there is nothing will come out. Okay, so now we reach the state of backing. Okay, backing means that in S20 the brewing chamber will lift it down to leave few distance, which is I can adjust it, I can increase it or decrease it. I don't program it in function of mm, but I program it according to the time. I tell to the brewing unit, go 1 second down or 0 point something second down. So I leave that space, as I say, between the surface of the coffee and the screen shower. After that, what I need to do, I need to do a pre-infusion. Pre-infusion is a small quantity of hot water comes first in the top of the coffee to cook it, to pre-cook it a little bit and to make it wet. And it's with a low pressure. So there is a small quantity will come, we'll get in contact with the coffee, we'll do the pre-infusion, okay? Once the pre-infusion is done, what I need to do?
Press.
Brewing. Brewing.
Brewing.
So then the water comes with a 9 bar and we start extracting the coffee. Once I reach the programmed water dose in the cup, then the brewing unit continue the cycle. What is the cycle? I need to dry the coffee cake before I throw to the garbage or to throw to the wastage drawer. I will ask the unit to squeeze. Okay, we call it drying time. So what the unit will do, it will go up to squeeze the coffee, okay, and to discharge also the pressure to the cup. Okay, once I finish to dry the coffee, then the machine will go, or the brewing unit will go down to throw the coffee cake and come back to the initial position. There is something similar also happening here. So after grinding the coffee, I press on the coffee. I do a little bit of backing to leave that space. After I leave the backing, I extract, I do pre-infusion with a low pressure. After the pre-infusion with a low pressure, I extract with a 9 bar. Once I extract with a 9 bar, then I need to discharge because I have 9 bar pressure. I have 9 bar pressure and a closed brewing chamber, right? So I have a remain pressure inside. I want to discharge it. To discharge it, I discharge it in 2 ways. There is a way which is called pressure discharge. We ask the unit to stay in the same position and let the pressure go out to the cup. Then, in the end of the cycle, I must get a dry coffee cake. To get a dry coffee cake, we have another parameter which is we ask a squeeze from the brewing unit to make the coffee cake dry. So when I throw it out, there is no residues will stay inside the brewing chamber. There is no coffee will stick in the edges of the brewing unit and it will be a clean cycle. For the fully automatic machine, it's very important that the technician try to combine between 2 things. It's not always about the quality in the cup from a fully automatic machine. That's why I prefer, for example, I give you a real example about the S15. The S15 has only a small grinder motor. If I want to reduce the quantity to 7 gram or 8 gram extraction, I can do it, but I need to go very fine. If I go a little bit fine, I expose the grinder to get blocked, the blockage. Then also I expose the brewing unit to a lot of problems. If I get the first espresso in the cup, it's good, but the second one I remarked that the coffee cake is not dry and the brewing unit is not clean after that cycle, means this machine will keep going at the back because of this problem. But you as a technician try to combine. Look at what is in the cup. Should be good quality in the cup. Is the right of the client, of the customer who bought the machine from you. And also you need to look at inside the machine. If my machine is comfortable to grind that coffee in that granularity where I adjust, and it doesn't expose the grinder to get blocked. And also to my brewing unit, if after that cycle my brewing unit is comfortable and the cycle is clean. Okay? This is applicable to all the machines. Because I can see sometimes, okay, the client is happy, the coffee is strong, nice creamer, but when I look at inside the unit, there is the coffee come out like mud, and there is a small quantity stay inside the chamber because it's very muddy. And when the unit tries to throw the coffee, it gets stuck on the edges. Then this cycle, if it repeated one day, it will create more and more problem. Then your coffee is not consistent. I prefer to increase more coffee, make the coffee a little bit more coarser, because in a 7 gram finer and in a 9 gram coarser, still in the cup I can, if I use a fracrometer or something to check the TDS, I can extract the same solids from 7 grams, grounded finer. I can come out with the same, but with 9 gram. I prefer to go 9 gram and my unit is comfortable and the cycle is clean than to go little and the first cycle is good and the next one there is no consistency or there is some problems with the machine. So check the cap and look at inside the machine. And generally when we do calibration for a fully automatic machine, I work with the machine open or with the door open. So I observe the cycle like with Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, do not stick much to the numbers. If they tell you, for the grinder, I need to set 3 seconds. These 3 seconds cannot, is very difficult to stick to that number and give you the quality you are looking for. So if you enter 3 seconds as a grinding time, for you to keep the client happy, you will try to go finer. If you go finer, the cycle for sure will not be that. Then, yeah. Just always try to look in the cup and also check what's going on inside your machine. The S15 I had an experience. For example, I had some trials for 2-3 months with a company, exactly East Costa. Then was good that they did the test with me, not with the quality control or a barista. Because I know my machine capability, so you choose S15 because of that budget. Yeah. I know the capability, I can tell you yes, it can, yes, it cannot. You want to save cost and you want to use 7 gram, I can tell sorry, it cannot. Because if I tell him yes one day, when they deal with you here as a distributor, you will be exposed to problems. So things was clear because I know the S15 capabilities. If they move to S20, I will deal with S20 after S20 because S20 has different capabilities or at least a different machine content. So the movement here will continue here. So the coffee goes inside the chamber. Like always pay attention because the machine in the technical program is open. You can put 5 seconds, you can put 10 seconds, but all the coffee should go inside the chamber, not to fill it too much, because in this situation the unit will be dirty because an excess of coffee will come on the side. And also you expose the brewing unit that if the motor fill or absorb a certain amperage will reject the cycle because it's too much coffee and cannot press that quantity.
It will reject and it will not show anything.
It will show error. Normally I think error 8, something like that, if my memory is good, it will tell you that there is something wrong with the brewing unit. And one of the possibilities that you use too much coffee. The program is open, doesn't mean you put whatever you want. You need to pay attention to the quantity going inside the chamber. So here, as I mentioned, we have pressing from up and down.
Possible to weight the coffee here?
Yeah, it's possible to weigh the coffee. It's for you to have an idea how many grams you are using for single, double, etc. In the machine program, it gives you a possibility how you
Like
can weigh the
S20.
coffee. Sorry?
Like S20.
Like the S20. Here the brewing unit is different, but it gives you this possibility. The chamber moved automatically to the other side to give you a possibility to put a spoon or to put a cup or whatever. There is a key which doesn't come with the machine, but
There's
normally.
key
Huh?
Where's the key down?
Sorry?
There's the key with the machine.
It doesn't come with this. Yeah, normally you require one like this.
Oh,
one.
when you open the door, you can put.
Yeah, when you open the door,
Yeah.
especially to measure the coffee or to take out the coffee, you need to use
Yeah, the
this,
temporary
this
key.
kind of key. I will give you this one.
Good.
Huh?
Yeah, very good.
No, it's
So
fine.
kind.
It's fine. No, it's not about. It's just a plastic key.
Yeah.
So then this we will also explain because very important. All the clients will be asking you about how many grams of nutrition. I know you are using tissue sometimes. Or you
Case to
put-
case basis, really.
Huh?
Sometimes you have to do something.
Yeah, I know sometimes you put tissue or something. So just with the key it's more clean and easy.
No, if there is a key, then it's better.
Yeah. So here's the cycle. Here it's a little bit faster. In the reality, no, it's a little bit longer and slower the cycle. Sorry for that, but we will see the machine. Boom, boom, boom. The cycle is managed, or there is a photo cell. We call it CENMET, the S20. We have photo cell to detect the brewing unit position.
Position.
Those we explain directly on the machine. Here there is an exercise. I'm not sure if you will touch it. You want to think about it before I explain it? Okay. Hassan. شربت أول قهوة.
Huh?
أنت شربت أول قهوة. This is a small exercise. I know I didn't explain so much, and I know that S15 is a new machine. Now we are just working in our imagination. But let us explain those stages of the brewing unit. As a small exercise, we can discuss it at the same time. It's a good opportunity to explain the total cycle of the brewing unit. So here the exercise say, watch the video and make a copy on the machine. Then try to order or to put those
Step by step.
steps of the coffee cycle in order.
In one cycle.
Yes. So I will play it. Look at the video. Then let's put those cycles in order.
Okay.
Again. Again. Here the speed is almost as real. So coffee,
Grind.
grind, coffee
Grind.
goes inside the coffee and the unit
Moves
movement.
to the
play.
position.
Yes, and then it will be upper and lower piston.
Upper and
Back
lower
in.
close.
Now we
Now
are
back
in.
now we extract,
Extract.
and we throw the
And then
milk.
pull it off. And then
Go back.
roll.
So Go back to the position.
Then
Go back to the
Position again.
Okay, so which one?
Wala.
Let's start here.
Punta ko sa huli kaagad.
First grinding.
First grinding.
Grinding.
So the grinding chamber is filled up to the way up with the coffee powder.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one. Then what is the next?
Next is
We have infusion, we have compression, we have drying, return to standby, dispensing, chamber close, pressure discharge,
Chamber close.
waiting, and we have chamber open. Then we have extrusion of the coffee ground.
now chamber.
Okay, so grinding, then chamber close. Okay, what's next?
Next. Now we need to press.
Where's the
lower
back?
motor and
Compression.
Where's the backing? No.
the lower piston goes up to the compressed
Waiting.
coffee cake till the
So
motor.
the lower piston
this
goes
one.
up to
Compress
compress the coffee cake, then the motor MP reach a set value of absorption. Absorption is the operation
Ayun.
absorbed by the
Tapos dito ka
motor.
sa
Third
waiting.
one is compression.
Okay,
Third
so
one
we
compression.
said grinding, then chamber
Close,
close,
compression.
then compression. After that,
Waiting.
Now we need to
Go with
go
waiting.
back.
now we need to go back. So backing, what is
Backing
it?
now.
Backing.
No backing, maybe waiting.
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 Grinding,
There is no
grinding,
backing, it's not there.
compression,
No
compression.
So we need to waiting now.
Yeah.
If no backing.
Sorry?
If no backing, we need to waiting now.
Okay, waiting, so the pump fills the coffee cake with set amount of water in process.
And then infusion.
Infusion.
Then infusion, the G valve
Yeah.
and the EVI
open.
valve are open to let the water reach the coffee panel.
Pump is on.
And the pump is off during the pre-infusion. Okay,
And then pressure discharge.
Pressure discharge.
Pressure discharge, are you sure?
No, not pressure discharge. Dispensing now.
Now dispensing.
Ah, discharge.
So the
Ah,
pump,
dispensing, yeah,
The
dispensing.
pump, which is we call it
Pump
PVP,
polarization.
push the water through the coffee panel, to make coffee. Okay, so I make already coffee. Then
Now we need to pressure discharge and
Explosion.
dry. Emerge.
Ah.
Hold on. Explosion
Drying.
of coffee.
so we are after dispensing.
Drying.
Dispensing then
After
Drying.
dispensing, we need to discharge the extra pressure.
discharge the pressure discharge. So the G valve three-way is open to release the pressure of the coffee separate.
Now we need to dry.
Okay, drying. So
Drying.
the chamber is filled.
Drying.
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 The lower piston goes up to squeeze the exhausted coffee cake.
Now we need to explosion of coffee.
Okay. Expression of the coffee.
Lower piston goes up.
Okay. The lower pistons go up and the chamber close to expel the exhaust coffee cake. Then
Then chamber open.
Open.
No, chamber open.
chamber open. Then
We finish. Return to standby.
are you sure?
The last one is correct.
So first
Yeah,
is
grinder is
grinding.
correct. Chamber close correct.
Okay. The chamber is
Ah,
filled
so
up
you-
with the coffee.
The compression.
Chamber close.
Yeah.
Compression.
Compression, the lower piston.
So
go
the
up
backing
to
is the
compress
replacement
coffee
of the-
cake, then
ah.
the motor reach set
Waiting
value.
is replacement of the.
Then waiting. Waiting is the pump fill the coffee separate with the set amount of water in process. Then after that we have the infusion. The infusion, the group valve is open to let the water reach the coffee panel, but the pump is off. So it's infusion with the line pressure with that 1.6 bar. Then we have the dispensing. Dispensing, the pump it push the water with a 9 bar pressure through the coffee panel to make the coffee. Once I finish to make the coffee with a high pressure, I have a pressure will remain inside the chamber, right? What I need to do for that pressure? I need to discharge it. So to discharge it is the third way of the group solenoid valve or G valve will open to release the pressure, right? Then after that, I discharge the pressure, but the coffee cake is still wet inside. I need to dry. So the lower piston goes up to squeeze the exhausted coffee cake. Then what happened after that? The chamber will open. Then the expulsion of the coffee cake. So we throw the coffee cake. The lower piston go up to take the coffee cake up to expel the exhausted coffee cake. Then it will return back to the standby position. Do you know the cycle for the S30? How it works?
Yeah.
No? Okay, since you are already in exercise and if you are concentrated, let's show how the S30 also works. S20. S20 because of the project. It's very important to know the different cycles of the